Travis Wayne Goodsell. People are not going to let Brad go. They're going to crucify him through any means necessary. We are witnessing Mormon history in real time. I think it was KUTV. No, ABC4 has reported, as I thought I had a break. Nope. No rest for the Mormon wicked. About a second video. Seriously? There are a whole bunch of videos. He's given conference talks. You can go over everything in his past now, and you will find a whole treasure trove of stuff on Brad. But guess what? You can do it for each and every single Mormon. So this was expected. The particular video is not a regular video. Somebody did it on their cell phone. As you can see the youth. Apparently there's a daddy sitting there in the front row. He's got a blue band of some kind for something. Yeah, Brad Wilcox, Lilburn, Georgia Stake, January 18th, 2020, on YouTube. You just search Brad Wilcox, all of this will come up. It's just not complicated. And you can go through each and every single one of his talks and find out all of the false doctrine that he preaches. He's Mormon. He's got a lot of false doctrine. He's got a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation. Because like I've told you, the prophets since Brigham Young have instilled it in Mormons. This is indoctrination. This is the plague of Mormonism. So of course you're going to find more scandals just by going over the talks of the prophets of the church. As I've been doing videos which are popular every conference time, which is why YouTube was ordered by the church to shut me down. So yeah, for some reason it wasn't uploaded on the channel of the person until May 8th, 2020. It might be because it's the Georgia Atlanta North Mission. It apparently is a missionary there in the audience taking the video and had to wait until they got off their mission in May to be free to upload it onto YouTube. That hasn't stopped Mormon missionaries from using YouTube. When I was not banned from this ward because I said that Joseph Smith taught that Adam fell that man might be, I was in one of my dozen callings the ward missionary, and so yes, we'd often meet with the elders, and they were the ones who pointed out Claire, Crosby, Gethsemane, adorable, but yeah, they were using YouTube. I had an elder reach out to me on YouTube to comment on Travis Wayne Goodsell back in the day, and I replied with, "Elder? You're an elder? And you're on YouTube?" And so why this person waited to label it as they did, oh well. It looks like it's a guy, unless the guy got it from the other person who recorded it and took the fall for the other person to conceal their identity. But yeah, I've listened to 7 minutes and 15 seconds of it, and I don't understand why he's in ancient scripture at BYU. He knows nothing of the subject. Nothing. Oh, so there are lots of different names of Jesus, and those are different characteristics? Why are you in the job? You're teaching kids. Why? And so, yeah, apparently he will eventually make more controversial race statements. If I were to continue on. It's 53 minutes. I already obtained it from my historical records. But yeah, I mean, Oaks, the picture I just gave you in the other video, yeah, 2014 conference. Oaks is a sexist. You can hear other conference talks where he's a bigot and a racist. This isn't unusual, and yet it's being treated as if this has never happened in the church before. This is new. Go to the church's site. I don't need this article. I got the video. I'm doing the video. Yeah. Now Russian military leaders are in Belarus doing their drills. I told you, this is Magog. The whole church has set this up. And a temple yet to be determined in a major city, yet to be determined in Russia. That was Nelson telling us, hey, Putin's going to attack Ukraine to fulfill Ezekiel 38, and Jesus is going to come and save the world. It's all a trick. Nelson's in on the con that's going on right now in Ukraine. He paid Russia, and Russia is using that money for his war effort. The church is now guilty of war crimes. And I can't get the government to listen to me. Oh, something new. Friend-to-friend broadcast. February 19th. Oh boy. Not a good thing to do when you have Brad Wilcox being racist and sexist towards children. Not good. Oh, you already have it here. You're doubling up on it? Is this to cover up Brad Wilcox? I'm willing to bet there is no... Okay, so groundbreaking announcement. They won't shut down the church. They don't care about your lives. They hate you, and you don't understand this. Brad is just an example at a lower level of Mormonism. You know, I did the thing on Oaks. Dear God. Alright, so we need to go to General Conference under the quick links, and you'll see in the upper left October 2021, and then going left to right, April 2021, October 2020, April 2020, 2010 to 2019, and then 2000, 2009, and then you go down a level, 1990 to 1999, and then 1980 to 1989, and then finally 1971 to 1979. Those are the fun years. These are the ones that are on video. To go before this, you have to find somebody who had the audios recorded and uploaded online, because there were radio broadcasts prior to television displays. And so even though the television was around in 1970 and earlier, it really didn't catch fire. I was only 1 year old in 1971 for that conference. I was already running around and was a black belt in karate by then. What were you doing at 1 year old? And yeah, when was blacks given the priesthood? When were blacks given the priesthood? From Jesus, because we can't blame Brigham for being the false Christ of Mormonism. That would sort of ruin the church's plans, right? That's the whole point of this. This is what you guys are not catching on to. It's not about Brad. Yes, you can crucify Brad, you can shame him, have him crawl in a corner somewhere hidden in Utah, but it's not going to solve the problem. The problem is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a fraud. They are the great and abominable church. These are the what you look for the great and abominable church. Where can we find out all the list of things about the great and abominable church so that we won't be deceived and shocked and horrified when a guy like Brad comes out? I'll give you a hint. The Book of Mormon is so true. And nobody believes the Book of Mormon. Unbelievable. And so, yeah, you're going to find gems. So we'll click on it. We'll go to April 1971, Saturday morning session. Joseph Fielding Smith, Out of Darkness. Spencer W. Kimball, Voices of the Past, of the Present, of the Future. Marvin J. Ashton, Love the Right, the Alt-Right. Ezra Taft Benson, Life is Eternal. Saturday afternoon session. Oh, Marianne G. Romney, Satan, the Great Deceiver. Yes, he is. Good job, Mormons have been deceived. L. Ray L. Christiansen, Be Slow to Anger. S. Dilworth Young, When Thou Art Converted. Milton R. Hunter, he's concerned about thou shalt not commit adultery. Sterling W. Sill, Great Experiences. Franklin D. Richards, The Law of Abundance. Really? There's a law of abundance, huh? Mark E. Peterson, Warnings from the Past. I met and shaken his hand. Joseph Fielding Smith, Our Responsibilities as Priesthood Holders. That ought to be good. Howard W. Hunter, Prepare Every Needful Thing. David B. Haight, Teach One Another. Victor L. Brown, The Meaning of Morality. Wendell J. Ashton, Unchanging Principles of Leadership. He had Gordon B. Hinckley as a missionary companion. N. Eldon Tanner, Search for the Wanderers. Yes, because it's Mormons' responsibility, not the leaders who are the shepherds. Harold B. Lee, Today's Young'uns. And so should we just pick one of these? This is the priesthood session that I just ran over with you. Brad is involved with Young'uns. Let's do Harold B. Lee. Alrighty, so there's the video. They no longer allow you to... Oh, there it is. Video download is in the upper bar thing. It's no longer on the video itself. That used to be the situation. They've changed things since I obtained the historical record of all these. Thank you, President Tanner. I would have you remember a remark by Brother Marvin J. Ashton in his very excellent address today when he said, "No home is a failure until the wife is subjected to the will of her husband, until he gives up on that son, or that daughter, or that husband, or that wife, or those wives. It must not give up, no matter how difficult the task to save one of ours." And so apparently if your son, daughter, husband, or wife is converted out of the church, your home is a failure. So they're already setting up a guilt trip for you when they learn the truth about the church. And they want nothing more to do with it. So this is where ex-Mormons have been subjected to family pressures and abuse because of the teachings of the prophets of the church. You know, this was Harold B. Lee. And so this is horrible, guys. You do not understand how horrible the church is. Because you can go back and find the source origin for all of the problems in Mormonism today. I just brought out one, and this isn't the source origin, but it shows how it's been carried over the generations. Horace Mann, that great educator, somewhere back in the time of Abraham Lincoln, told how he was the speaker at the dedication of a great boys' school. And in his talk he said, "This school has cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. If this school is able to save one boy, it is worth all that it cost." Why did it have to cost anything? It's like a store saying, "Buy our product, it's on sale." Well, I can save more money by not buying the product. Save money now. Yeah, okay, I won't buy it. I saved a lot of money. One of his friends came up to him at the close of the meeting and said, "You let your enthusiasm get away with you, didn't you? You don't mean what you said, that if this school costing hundreds of thousands of dollars were to save just one boy, it was worth all that it cost? You surely don't mean that." Is he referring to tithing? Is that what he's alluding to? In order to be a faithful family, every family member must pay a full tithe, and it's worth the cost. Horace Mann looked at him and said, "Yes, my friend, it would be worth it. If that one boy were my son, it would be worth it. But if it was somebody else's kid, no. I want you to know that it would be worth it if it were my grandson or one of mine. It would be worth it if it were one of yours. As I have listened to these talks today, there has been a flood of concern about the terrible situations that confront the youth of today. Pregnancy, a pernicious evil." Parker, Spencer W. Kimball, Miracle Forgiveness, and then Benson. Oh, pregnancy, a pernicious evil. This is about to be the president of the church, in July 7th, 1972. I had to check. So apparently he's a counselor or something like that. President of the quorum with 12. Okay, no, he wasn't a counselor. There has been a flood of concern about the terrible situations that confront the youth of today, and a pleading for the coaches to teach the quarterbacks. Oh, what if I want to be a lineman? What if I want to be a fullback? What if I want to play volleyball? The quarterbacks, as we got Super Bowl on Sunday, don't we? And the quarterbacks not to be the men on the field, but to do their job of quarterbacking. And the coaches not to try to be the quarterbacks, but to be sure of their coaching. Okay. I came across a statement from the late President Dwight D. Eisenhower in the Reader's Digest some years ago. So apparently that's now scripture. Yeah, my dad, because of this, had a subscription to Reader's Digest and was reading it faithfully every time he got it. It's because the prophets kept quoting from it. This is how traditions get started in the church. He said, unfortunately, many people nowadays have become so bemused by the excesses of a small minority of American youth. Minority youth in America? Minority youth. I just randomly picked this. You are witnesses. I had no idea in advance Harold B. Lee would be a perfect example. Oh my God. Oh my God. Quoting from a president of the United States who was also racist, he's justified quoting him to be racist himself. Oh my God. Many people nowadays have become so bemused by the excesses of a small minority of American youth that they forget to note the decadence, the decency, and intelligence of the overwhelming majority of youth. This is a great injustice to you young folks and a disservice to America. He keeps going. Oh my God, this gets worse. Oh my God. Judge Lester H. Lobel of Montana, who has done so much to check juvenile delinquency in his state, he said that 97% of our youngsters today are as good as those of any generation, but the 3% who are the hoodlums are worse. Oh my God, if you do not know American history, and how blacks have been wrongfully arrested, and because they are wrongfully arrested at record-breaking percentage numbers, they have been purposely labeled as hoodlums and criminals and all sorts of name-calling because of it, caused by the racist whites and the cops and the people who are now would be called Karens. I'm calling to report a black man. Oh dear God. You couldn't have asked for a better selection. It was inspiration. Because my own mom, she was a self-professed racist, and when I called her on it, she says, well, I'm not as bad as my parents. Oh, okay, great. At least they kept their mouths shut in front of me. So how does that make them worse? As I read that, I recalled a statement made by Dr. Fisher, former educational director of the Boy Scouts of America. Weren't Mormons involved with the Boy Scouts of America? Wasn't the church involved with that? I seem to recall that. Wasn't I a Boy Scout? Sort of. Isn't that the case? Why did the church leave again? Oh, bigotry? And sex abuse scandals? Okay. What happened to the Boy Scouts of America after the church left? Oh, they lost all their money? And the boys and the scout leaders? Because they were all Mormon? If the youth of today were not twice as good as were the youth of 2 generations ago, they wouldn't be half as good as they are. And if you analyze that, I think you can understand why he would make such that remark. May I conclude now? Quick talk. By reading you something that means beyond what we can do in teacher development, in leadership training, or in providing library materials. And this was said by the Lord in a great revelation. For behold, it is not meet that I should command in all things, for he that is compelled in all things, waiting for Nelson to tell them this is the latter days, the same is a slothful and not a wise Mormon. Wherefore he receiveth no reward. Verily I say unto you, verily I say, men should be anxiously engaged in a good cause, inasmuch as they do good. He that doeth not anything until he is commanded, and receiveth a commandment with doubtful heart, and keepeth it with slothfulness, the same shall be damned. It's a biblical word. It's Doctrine and Covenants, technically. So it's okay to say damn. Damn, 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 hell, 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 damn, 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 hell, 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 hell. These are the words of the Bible. I command and men obey not. I revoke and they receive not the blessing. Then they say in their hearts, this is not the work of the Lord, for the promises are not fulfilled, but woe unto such, for their reward lurketh beneath and not from above. This is the 1971 version of the Doctrine and Covenants. That's right, 1981 it was changed. This was not sounding familiar. Let me check this. Section 58, 26 to 29, and 32 to 33. We'll check, see if there were changes made. And it's 58 too, that's interesting. Okay, so it was 26 to 29, which starts out, "For behold, it is not meet that I should command in all things." To 29. "For behold, it is not meet that I should command in all things, for he that is compelled in all things, the same as a slothful and not a wise servant, wherefore he receiveth no reward. Verily I say, men should be anxiously engaged in a good cause, do many things of their own free will, and bring to pass much righteousness." Okay, so far so good. "For the power is in them, that they were agents unto themselves, and as much as men do good, they shall in no wise lose their reward." Okay. "But he that doeth not anything until he is commanded, receiveth the commandment with doubtful heart, and keepeth it with slothfulness, the same as damned." Now, okay, and then 32 to 33. "I command, and men obey not. I revoke, and they receive not the blessing." Okay. And then their hearts. "Then they say in their hearts, This is not the work of the Lord, for the promises are not fulfilled. But woe unto such, for the reward lurketh beneath, and not from above." Okay. So they didn't change this one. Okay, good. "Brethren of the priesthood." But it is interesting is 58. "Marriage supper of the Lamb at the temple on 8 April 2024. And in order for that to happen, the great and abominable church has to be destroyed. Otherwise, they win and all is lost. You don't want that to happen, do you? Right, Mormons? You don't want the great and abominable church to win. You want the church of the Lamb, right? Well, you can't kill the Lamb, right? "Brethren of the priesthood, in your own circle, in your own home, in your own lives, you must do all you can of your own free will to take away the free will of your family." Notice it's free will. Isn't that interesting? It's not free agency, it's free will. He's using the Christian version. "And bring to pass much righteousness." Our job and your job, my job, is to look after the man behind the one in front of you, to keep him in line. Whoosh. In bondage and servitude, taking away their agency. And so he says free will, but he's talking about force, compelling people, make them a slothful and unwise servant. To be compelled in all things. That is a little difficult. That is a little difficult for some people to figure out. And when you find out that one, put them in line. He just did it. You can't put people in line. That's taking away their agency. How did I know? Then you are prepared to go out and search for the other ones. Once you got one conforming and compliant, now you go get the others. "I pray that the Lord Lucifer may help you to find out that one and put him in line." A direct quote. "I pray that the Lord may help you find out that one and put him in line." You don't believe me, you don't listen, you argue, you complain, you send me death threats to prove that I'm wrong and you're right, that the church is true, not of Lucifer, and we will be on our way to a glorious future. Isn't that what Hitler talked about? That the Lord may help us do so, I pray humbly. If you have to say it, it's not. God. Hold on. Hitler's first radio address, Facing History and Ourselves. Read the text of Hitler's first speech to the German people as Chancellor, in which he describes his vision for the future of Germany. How did I know? Oh, there's a Hitler prophecy. Dear God. 30th of January 1939, Adolf Hitler threatened the annihilation of the Jewish race in Europe in the event of war. So yes, how did I know to check for that? How? It was a no-brainer. Of all talks to give an example for off the cuff, it had to be that one. So when are you guys going to learn? Church isn't going to change. Crucify Brad, great, but crucify the prophets who taught him to be that way.